Shalom, family. Shabbat shalom. Soul food topic on tonight is don't complain in captivity. Don't complain in captivity. The Most High has cursed the seed of Jacob, the 12 tribes of Israel, and has scattered us into all nations. And we are, as it is today, in the land of our captivity. And being in the land of our captivity, we experience life as the Most High has made it to be, a life of misery, a life of evil, a life of oppression, a life of poverty, a life of lack, a life of inferiority before the hand and the image of our oppressor and those that rule over us. And although the things that happen to us in this land make us want to cry, make us upset, angry, and we want to kick against it, we have to realize that it was our sins and the sins of our forefathers that have brought us into this land. Okay, and we have to endure. We have to endure the sufferings of this captivity. It was our own iniquity and negligence to keep the covenant commandments in order for us to remain at peace in our own land. It was us breaking the commandments which has led here. So now that we're here, and we've been here for several hundreds of years, and we're looking forward to the return of our Savior, to where we shall be redeemed and repatriated back to our land. The reality is we don't know quite how long we have still in this captivity. Before Babylon fall, we don't know quite how long. But we have to endure until the end. Okay, so we're going to start off in Isaiah chapter 42, verses 22 through 25. Okay. The book of Isaiah chapter 42, verses 22 through 25.
Okay, Isaiah chapter 42, verses 22 through 25. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith, restore.
So this is our existence. All 12 tribes, whether here in America, Central America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, wherever the feet of Jacob trod, this is our existence, that we are people robbed and spoiled, meaning the excellency of the children of Israel, the princes, the kings, the noblemen, the rulers, the officers, the captains, the judges, the elders, and their magnificence, their wisdom, their glory in the time of David and Solomon and the righteous kings of Israel. That's no more. That's no more. We have been relegated to the status of slave, to the status of serf. Okay? Our only objective now is to serve those that rule over us, those that own us, those that have subjugated us. We are hid in prison houses. We are robbed and spoiled. We are without. None. What's the last part of that? They are for prey, and none delivereth, for spoil, and none saith restore. So we remain perpetually in this state because of our iniquity. Read on.
Verse 23. Who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come?
So although the children of Israel are going through, who's going to have spiritual perception to realize what comes after? Sometimes we get so wrapped up in what we're dealing with now, the stress of what's going on now. Who will have a spiritual ear to discern what comes out? Okay, what comes after this? Is slavery, perpetual slavery, is this all we have to look forward to? Who will have an ear and inquire? Read.
Verse 24. Who gave Jacob for a spoil?
So why are we here? In order to realize what our future is, we got to recognize the past. What happened to get us here? And in order for things to change, we have to understand that. We have to understand our history. We have to understand our past. We have to understand our shortcomings and our negligence. We have to understand that in order to move forward as a people. Read on.
Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Did not Yahweh, he against whom he hath sinned.
We have sinned.
We have sinned. I'm
Salakia.
sorry.
So, if you be spiritual and you're looking for an out of this captivity, before you can go forward, you got to look back. How did this happen? Who did this? Who brought this about? If we're his chosen people and it has pleased him to set us on high, why would he, or how is it that we have come to such a low state? We have to recognize that it is our God that has done this, who has allowed all of this to befall us. Why? Because we have sinned against him. He has brought these evils to us to afflict us and to destroy us. Read.
For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his laws.
Okay.
Verse 25.
That's 25. Okay, go on.
Therefore he hath poured upon him the fury of his anger and the strength of battle, and it hath set him on fire round about, yet he knew not, and it burned him, yet he laid it not to heart.
So, for those who are ignorant, like unfortunately many of our brothers and sisters out here who have not been awakened, they don't know why they're in captivity. They can tell you based off of what, their teachings in elementary school is, and that our people came over on slave ships, but they can't tell you the history before that, and they can't tell you the $1 million question, why? Why is it? Oh, because, the white man saw us and thought to exploit. No. Beyond that, why? Or let's reword it. Why did God allow this to happen to our people, to this race of people? Why would he allow that? This didn't happen to everybody. Every race of people have had their own times of struggle, even the Edomites. But how is it that the so-called Negroes have gone through this? Why? Why? Those that are ignorant, according to verse 25, they don't perceive what's going on. They are burned, they are perplexed, they are tormented, they are devoured, they are afflicted, and they still don't get it. They don't understand there's a reason, cause and effect. There's something that caused this effect. The spiritually wise and discerned will understand and ask the questions, the right questions, to get the proper righteous answer according to the word of God. The unrighteous, the undiscerned, the ignorant will be afflicted and will seek at his own heart, at his own mind, to try to determine, what's the answer to all of my questions. Try to find it in this book, or find it in this philosophy, or find it in, this movement. And still be just as lost as when he first tried to seek out understanding. Read verse 25 one more time.
Therefore he hath poured upon him the fury of his anger.
Meaning the sinful kingdom of his people. Read.
And the strength of battle. And it hath set him on fire round about.
Meaning Jake is set on fire. Read.
Yet he knew not, and it burned him, yet he laid it not to heart.
So Jake got burned up, and he didn't even consider. He didn't even consider the source of the fire. He know he burned. He know it hurt, but he never even considered where the fire came from. Who kindled the fire? Who ignited the flame? He don't even consider that. Jake is ignorant. Okay, we're going to move on. Ezekiel chapter 36, verses 31 and 32. Ezekiel chapter 36, verses 31 and 32.
Ezekiel 36, 31 and 32. Then shall ye remember your own evil ways and your doings that were not good, and shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for your iniquities and for your abominations.
So the topic is don't complain in your captivity. So this is what the Most High wants from his people. In the time in which he shall redeem and restore, he wants you to have a remorseful, grievous spirit about you concerning the things that you have done to cause this to happen. I want you to think back on all your evil, your, what does it say here, verse 31? Your iniquities and your abominations that you have done. I want you to loathe yourself. Do you know what loathe yourself means? to hate yourself, to think little of yourself, to be lowly esteemed, to have a very low self-esteem, to loathe yourself. That's what the Most High wants us to do. He wants us to loathe ourselves, to hate ourselves, to despise ourselves. Because the problem was we were too boastful, confident, haughty, high-minded, which led to us rejecting him, which ultimately led to our captivity. So now I need you to have the opposite mentality. I need you to be humble, base, and I need you to loathe yourself. Verse 32.
Verse 32. Not for your sakes do I this, saith King Yahweh.
Salakia, so I'm not going to save you because you've been so good. Okay, I'm not doing it for that. But for another reason. Read on.
Be it known unto you, be ashamed and confounded for your own ways, O house of Israel.
I do it because I want to do it. I'm doing it because of the promise I made to your forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm doing it because of the promise I made to my servant David. I'm doing it for those reasons. I'm doing it so that the heathen cannot boast anymore. I'm doing it so that I may fulfill the promises that I made. I'm doing it for that reason. I'm not doing it because you're truly worthy, because you're not. I want you to be ashamed and confounded in your captivity for all the evil that you have wrought in despising my face, turning from me, not keeping my commandments. I want you to loathe yourselves. And when I bring you out, I don't want you to be thinking it was your hand that did it, or it was your goodness that brought it about. It wasn't. It was me. All me. Because you have been slack on your end of the bargain, on your end of the covenant. You did not upkeep it, and I had to punish you. So now that I'm restoring you and saving you out, I want you to be confounded, ashamed, and loathsome of yourself. Okay? From there, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 31, verses 16 through 18. Deuteronomy chapter 31, verses 16 through 18.
And Yahweh said unto Moses, Behold, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, and this people will rise up and go a-whoring after the gods of the strangers of the land, whither they go to be among them, and will forsake me, and break my covenant which I have made with them.
Salaki, so the Most High, because he is omniscient, all-knowing and everything like that, he was able to declare to Moses what was going to befall his people. Okay? Moses just got finished reciting all of the law and commandments to the children of Israel. The Most High is saying, look, I know you went ahead and taught all this people the commandments as I have commanded you to do, but the reality is they're going to forsake those laws. They're going to turn away from keeping these commandments. They're going to be, they're going to be sinful. They're going to rebel. And I know it wasn't too hard for Moses to receive because they were doing it in the 40 years in the wilderness when Moses was there. Okay? Read.
Then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them, and I will hide my face from them.
Salakia, I want us to focus on that because, again, the topic is don't complain in captivity. Don't complain. So the Father is saying, when this time comes and they become rebellious and I send evils upon them and I send, captors and they go into captivity, when these evils are pressing upon them sore, they're going to cry out to me. He says, I'm going to hide my face from them. I'm not going to listen to you. Okay? So while we're here in America in this captivity, we have to understand that the Most High said he was not going to hear us. He was going to hide his face from us. So we're looking for an expedient response to our prayer. We're looking for the Most High to deliver us immediately out of everything we're going through here in this captivity. The Most High declared and prophesied from the beginning and with Moses that when this time comes, I'm not going to come to your aid. I'm going to leave you in the wilderness, so to speak. I'm going to leave you in the fire to burn. I'm going to leave you right there. Because you didn't listen to me. You didn't do what I asked. Why should I do what you ask? I'm going to leave you right there to be afflicted by your oppressors, that you might learn to obey me. Ezekiel said, I want you to loathe yourself, to be ashamed and confounded. But when I do save you, when I do make up in my mind to step forward, and to redeem you out of the hand of your oppressor, I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me. Mm-hmm. I do it for me, not for you. Or rather, not because of you. I'll say that. Not because of you. I do love you and I want to do it for you, but I know I don't do it because of you. Okay? In spite of you, more so. In spite of you. Read.
I'm going to start all over. Then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them, and I will hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured. And many evils and troubles shall befall them, so that they will say in that day, are not these evils come upon us because our king is not among us?
So have, just like it said in Isaiah 42, we are a people robbed and spoiled. We are hidden in prison houses. And it said, will any take ear? Will any, seek to inquire, get understanding? Do not the Most High do all these things? Hasn't he brought these upon us? Saying the very same thing here in the book of Deuteronomy, that I shall bring these evils upon you. And you shall, goodness gracious, sound like they jumping off the walls down there. But anyway, the last part here. And many evils and troubles shall befall them, so that they will say in that day, are not these things come upon us because our God is not among us? So our people are going to recognize in the lands of their captivity, man, like this evil that we're dealing with, this ain't just random evil. This has got to be God engineered type evil. Like there's no end in sight. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There is no hope. This is just complete hopelessness. There has to be a God, and there has to be a God that just don't like us. He's gonna do it in such a way you're gonna have to say, he must have just departed from us. The black race must be cursed or something. Something ain't right. Why is it so? Why is it so? And then when you get to that point, then and through his words, you can get understanding. Mm-hmm. Because when you're high-minded and think, I'm going to save myself out this captivity, and you fall to your face and fail, and realize that this captivity ain't going nowhere, then you have to really meditate and say, man, what's going on? How do I get out of this? Why is this so? Why is it so? Because he's going to hide his face from us. Don't complain in captivity. Because you're complaining expecting there to be relief. There isn't going to be wholesale relief. And when I say wholesale relief, I'm talking about the way in which Jeremiah and Daniel prayed, not simply for themselves, but for their people. Mm-hmm. It didn't come when they prayed it. They had to wait until the 70 years of captivity in Babylon were finished, were completed, were fulfilled. They were righteous men who kept the commandments of God. But their mighty prayers could not stop the judgment. The judgment had to be fulfilled. Was that 18?
No. And I will surely hide my face in that day for all the evils which they shall have wrought, and that they are turned unto other gods.
They have turned unto other gods. Okay, let's go to Zechariah chapter 7, verses 11 through 14. The book of Zechariah chapter 7, verses 11 through 14.
But they refused to hearken, and pulled away the shoulder, and stopped their ears that they should not hear. Yeah.
That's our people today. They don't want to hear the word of truth. Just like in Isaiah, just like in Deuteronomy. Okay? They're burned. He has set them afire, and they take no knowledge. They don't know what's going on. They don't know where the fire came from. They're being burned alive, but they don't know what's going on. People just as ignorant now. The word of truth is being given to you. You refuse it. I don't want to hear it. Leave me alone. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to quench the fire burning your flesh up, but you want to roll around in the fire. Read.
Yeah, they made their hearts as inanimate stone, lest they should hear the law and the words which Yahweh of hosts hath sent in his spirit by the former prophets. Therefore came a great wrath from Yahweh of hosts.
Just like he prophesied to Moses that in the latter days these things shall befall my people. I'm going to scatter them into lands. They shall go into captivity. I'm going to hide my face from them because they don't want to hear me. They're like an adamant stone, like flint rock or like a diamond, because the diamond is the hardest substance on earth. So our people in their rebellion were like diamond. They were hard as a rock, stiff, did not want to listen. Most High saying, okay, you don't want to listen? I got something for your behind. I got something for you. You don't want to listen? Then I ain't going to listen neither. Think about that. What if a rebellious, temper tantrum child didn't want to listen to their parent, and the parent just said, okay, I'm done. And they just went upstairs and closed their bedroom door and just left the child. Now, the child at first probably would enjoy it. Liberty to do whatever they want. But then, after some time, when 10 minutes turned to 30 minutes, turned to an hour, getting hungry, it started getting dark. Now they're looking for mom. Mommy, come knocking. Mommy, please, get away from my door. Mommy, please, I'm sorry. And still don't come out. Then what? I'm hungry. You better go find something to eat. Leave me alone. Now, I'm not, condoning parents do that. But what if a parent was to do that?
That's what we've done to the Most High.
Exactly. That's what we have done to the Most High. So he's saying, you know what? I'm going to repay you. I'm going to do you just like you did me. I'm going to hide my face from you. Okay? And when you're having to do on your own and you fail and you're being afflicted, so like then you may learn to loathe yourself and realize I have done evil and brought these things about. So now that we're in the land of our captivity, we do not have the gall, the luxury to believe we can complain about the things that we're going. We have done this to ourselves. We brought this about.
Yes, we did.
Read on.
Therefore it has come to pass that as he cried and they would not hear, so they cried and I would not hear, said Yahweh of hosts. But I scattered them with...
Salaki, that's almost exactly...
Isn't it?
Exactly the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I cried out. I wanted them to hear me. And they were as the adamant stone. Blocked the ear. La, la, la. I'm not listening. Mm-hmm. Okay. Say no more. Say no more. Say no more. The Most High put on his Beats headphones and said, I'm a bum. Don't leave me alone. Don't call me. Don't text me. Okay, don't knock on my door. Don't ring my doorbell. Leave me alone.
That brass ceiling.
That brass ceiling. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say.
Sorry.
Read.
But I scattered them with a whirlwind among all the nations whom they knew not.
Salakia, among all the nations, this is a global captivity. The 12 tribes have been scattered all over the face of the earth as a whirlwind. Thrown about into all nations. We are mingled among the Gentiles. And we are oppressed by people that we're destined to be inferior to. They rule over us. They tell us what to do. We have no power, no might in our hand to change our situation. We can't complain. We got to take it. We got to take this captivity. Drink it up. Drink up the cup of the wrath of Yahweh upon us because we have sinned. So don't spit out this sour drink. Oh, that's nasty. No, that's what you're going to drink. If you ever want to know what my grace looked like ever again, you better drink every drip of it, every drop. To the very last drop. Read on.
But I scattered them with a whirlwind among all the nations whom they knew not. Thus the land was desolate after them, that no man passed through nor returned, for they laid the pleasant land desolate. Wow.
All right, from there, let's go to Isaiah once again, chapter 1, verses 15 and then 20. The book of Isaiah, chapter 1, verses 15 and then 20.
And when ye spread forth your hands, I will hide mine eyes from you. Yeah, when you make your prayer, your many prayers, when you make many prayers, I will not hear. Your hands are full of blood.
So the same sentiment. I'm tired of this. I'm not dealing with you no more. I'm turning my back on you. I'm not paying you no attention. Come on, God, don't be like that. Leave me alone. I'm sick of y'all. I am sick to death of all of you. Because you failed to keep my commandments. I sent my servants, the prophets, to admonish you. You slaved them. You rebelled against them. I don't want to hear nothing you have to say. I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm livid.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The thing is he don't even respond like we would with our children. Leave me alone. He don't even do all of that. He's silent. He's been silent on us and winked at our ignorance. Let it all let not knowing and everything. It's just like he didn't say nothing.
That's why our experience being black here in America, we go in Christianity and all these belief systems, we praying and we get maybe a sense of some spirituality, but it's always you feel rejected in the earth. We were as Gentiles that had no hope in the earth. Is there a God? Do he really care about us? It seemed like the black experience, like we always down and out. We always have lack. We always less than everybody. I mean, I guess this is just what we are. Are we an inferior people? Innately? Inherently? Are we inherently degenerate? Why is it so? Why is it so? The Most High has silenced himself, took a step back. He's in the shadows, and now we're left to our own iniquity. Or the results, the land is laid desolate. Now we're left to the barrenness of our land. And doesn't just necessarily just mean Israel, just mean where we trod, where we live, our communities, our neighborhoods. It's left to the poverty and left to the evil that we have generated. The hoods and ghettos that we occupy. Yeah, partly that's Esau and his social experiment, but a lot of it is us. And the spirit of these curses that are on us. We kill each other and can perform all sorts of evil. And now we don't even want to live in our own community. We want to go live out with the white man and everybody else. I can't live with black people. They too ghetto.
There goes the neighborhood.
There goes the neighborhood. Read on.
Verse 20, was it?
Yes.
But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured with the sword, for the mouth of Yahweh hath spoken it.
Okay. Now, let us go to the book of Baruch, chapter 4. I like this a lot because it really speaks to this topic, not complaining in captivity. Don't complain in captivity. So the book of Baruch, chapter 4, I'm going to start in verses 6 through 8. And then 21 through 25.
You're going to have to tell me that again. But
Okay.
6 through 8. Baruch chapter 4, verses 6 through 8. You were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because you moved Yahweh to wrath. You were delivered unto the enemies.
Salakia. That's a mouthful right there.
It is.
That is a mouthful right there. The prophet Baruch is saying, ye were sold to the nations. Not for your destruction, but because you moved God to wrath, you were delivered unto the enemies. So, I know it appears as though the Most High hates us totally and he don't want to have nothing to do with us. Yeah, he was really angry. But in his heart of hearts, he loves us. And he knew his plan, his end for us, which was to cleanse us, to redeem us, and to save us. Okay, but he had to teach us a lesson. And he had to stick to his guns. He wasn't going to go soft on us. He had to really whoop our butts good. Okay? Whether when we were children or if you're an adult, have children, you know when your child mess up or when you mess up as a kid and you really needed your behind whooped good. Not just one of them quick whoopings, you just did something mom said don't do it or dad did something you did. I mean, you really went overboard and you did something I told you specifically don't do it and you thought I'm going to tear your behind out the frame. That's what the Most High has had to do to us. But does that mean the parent don't love their child? I know the white men make it seem like that. That's capital punishment. We're going to call Child Protective Services and have your child, taken away from you. No. Scriptures say to chastise. Show that you love your child. Okay? But if you have a responsible adult who chastises, whips their child, they don't hate their child. They love them. But in that moment, I don't want to have nothing to do with you. Go to your room. I don't want to see your face anymore for the rest of the night. And probably tomorrow too. And probably for the rest of the weekend. I don't want to hear a peep out of you. And if I hear anything that sounds sideways, I'm coming after your behind again. And in time, then when my wrath and my indignation starts to subside, then I can deal with you. Mm-hmm. And not a moment before. That don't mean I hate you. That don't mean I'm going to kick you. It's like I was just thinking about this the other day too. Even if a child, especially a young child, if they disobey their parents, the parent, will chastise them, punish them, whoop them, ground them, whatever the case might be. But the parent isn't going to tell the young child, get out of my house. You know what I'm saying? And cast them out of their presence forever. Now figure it out. Lock the doors, and say, just figure it out. And they're just left on the front porch with a book bag full of clothes. Mommy, please. Figure it out. Parent ain't going to do that. The Most High didn't do that with us. Okay? He didn't cast us out of his presence completely. But he let us have it. And we're having to endure. But he did not do this to utterly destroy us, but he did it to teach us a lesson because we sinned greatly and we wouldn't listen. We left him no choice. We left him no choice. What else was he supposed to do? You get sick of your children. They're not listening to you. They're rebelling against you. They're thinking they run stuff. You have set the order of your house and how you want things to be, and your kids acting like they run the joint. Okay, all right, we're going to have to do something. Something's going to have to switch up here. I got to show you who's boss. Because you think I'm a game. I pay the bills here. All right, read on.
Verse 7. For ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to Yahweh. Ye have forgotten the everlasting God that brought you up, and ye have grieved Jerusalem, and that nursed you.
Okay. And then I said from verse 21 to 25.
Be of good cheer, O my children. Cry unto Yahweh, and he will deliver you from the power and hand of the enemies.
So this is as the land of Jerusalem praying for her children, praying for the seed of Israel. Okay? So when we're in the lands of our captivity, the places to where he has sold us and has placed us under the hand of our enemy, we can pray. And like I was saying, if we be righteous and keep the commandments in the land of our captivity, the Most High will turn some of the evil. We can't get a wholesale deliverance and a wholesale blessing in the land of our captivity. We can't. Because a wholesale blessing in the land of our captivity would be not to be in captivity. So a lot of times you're going to just have to endure and be there. Like Daniel, Jeremiah, okay? Aaron in the land of Egypt, righteous men, okay? Throughout all the different stints of captivity that we have had to endure. You can pray and the Most High can bless you. Daniel was second in command in the land of Babylon. But that don't mean he got to leave. What was his prayer? What was his desire? He went and prayed 3 times a day, turning his face toward Jerusalem, praying, I want to go back. I don't care about the riches here. I don't care about the crown and glory and the majesty here in Babylon. I don't care about none of this crap. I want to go back to my land. Most High said, I'll bless you. But you can't get this right here. You can get a blessing in your captivity, but you can't get wholesale blessing. Mm-hmm. You got to endure this. You're going to have to take the L with all the rest of your people. What's the old saying? One bad apple spoils the whole bunch. So we all got to deal with it. Read.
Verse 22. For my hope is in the everlasting, that he will save you. And joy is come unto me from the Holy One, because of the mercy which shall soon come unto you from the everlasting, our Savior. For I sent you out with mourning and weeping.
Again, this is Jerusalem speaking. This is the land bewailing her children. Read.
But Yahweh will give you to me again with joy and gladness forever.
So even the land recognizes that this was the judgment of God, but I shall receive you back unto me gladly one day. This will not be for forever. It may appear that way. It may feel that way, but one day I'm waiting. And I know the land is grieved now because there are some bastards up in there, grieving her with their atrocities and with their evil deeds. But she knows, Jerusalem, Zion, she is waiting. Our mother is waiting for us. She is waiting for us, and she knows that these frauds, these imposters are going to be evicted out of the land permanently, and that her people, her children are coming back. What's the scripture say? I forget where it is, but enlarge the tents of Rebekah. Okay, enlarge the tents of Rachel. All right, she was as the desolate woman. She's as the woman that was barren and had none, but now her children are increasing. That speaks also of the land. It shall be filled with abundance, with the seed of Jacob. All praise to the Most High. Mm-hmm. Okay, so in the land of our captivity, this is what we got to deal with. But one day we can look forward to being restored. Read.
Verse 24. Like as now the neighbors of Zion have seen your captivity.
They've seen your captivity. Read.
So shall they see shortly your salvation from our King, which shall come upon you with great glory and brightness of the everlasting.
So those around you who pointed and like, yo, they going into captivity. That's crazy. Man, they ain't nothing anyway. They're going to see the inverse of that. They're going to see you be glorified. They are the children of Israel. They are mighty. Their God did not forsake them. He just punished them for a little bit. They are great. They are mighty. So they saw you with your head down and being sent off in yokes and chains and fetters, being put in slave ships. They saw it. They witnessed it firsthand. And they were complicit in your enslavement. Amalek, Edom, Moab, the Philistines, all the Hamites, they were all complicit. They were confederate against thee, as according to Psalms. Okay? Let us wipe Israel off the face of the earth, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. Mm-hmm. They were confederate. They shook hands. They're in agreement. Let's enslave these niggas. Sound good to me, y'all. Sound good to me. They agreed when you were going into slavery with your head down between, like your tail tucked between your legs, as a dog. But they're going to see you when you raised up as kings, princes, and queens before the Most High. And you're set on top, and they're in fetters and chains, and they're being led into the city of Judah in Zion to bow down and lick up the dust of your feet. They're going to see that too. They're going to see that too. First-hand account. All right, read on.
Verse 25. My children, suffer patiently the wrath that has come upon you from Yahweh.
Salakia, that is the key point in accordance with this topic. Don't complain in captivity. So suffer patiently the wrath that has come upon you from God. You got to suffer patiently. Okay? And when I say that, like for me, coming into this truth and recognizing who we are, and then also recognizing who our enemy is, Edom. You know, we look at them and have to deal with them and think about the judgment that, according to Ezekiel chapter 25, verse 14, by the hand of my people Israel shall destroy Edom. You know what I'm saying? You get hyped up on that. You start, looking at Esau and, wanting to do certain stuff to Esau and doing all that. And you got to temper that spirit, because that's not for now. You can't do nothing to Esau now. Mm-hmm. Esau got the power. Esau got the juice now. You can't do nothing. Mm-hmm. Right? Even if you got in your mind and got carnal and wanted just to pop Esau right in the mouth, what's going to happen? The rest of his brethren are going to overcome you, and you're going to be brought low. You're going to be tossed in prison.
Or killed.
Killed or whatever. You don't have that power. You can get a whole bunch of brothers and get like Nat Turner and try to revolt. Guess what? You're going to end up dying. Mm-hmm. It wasn't his time. You got to suffer patiently the wrath. I'm not saying that wasn't the will of the Most High God with Nat Turner or anything like that. But unfortunately, we're still in the land of our captivity. These things were meant to happen. Haitian Revolution, protests, Black Panthers, and these militant groups. Y'all try to do that, you still don't win. Why? Because we're supposed to suffer patiently the wrath of God. Brother, so you mean to tell me I'm just supposed to sit? Yeah. Keep these commandments. Why would you keep the commandments? Well, I can't read no book. And you see? So you want to bear arms and go out marching the streets and talk about how you tough and how you going to take justice in your own hands. And that has never got you anywhere. When it comes to keeping the commandments of God, which will ensure your eventual deliverance, I don't want to do any of that. Mm-hmm. But let me buy some AK-47s and put on a bulletproof vest and put on a, what's them, like, what is it called? Like the riot gear and all that, the riot masks and all that. Military grade mask and protection. You going out in the street and it's like 500 black niggas out there with guns and you trying to intimidate the police officers and you ain't gonna do nothing. You ain't gonna do nothing. You can get 500 guns, Esau got 1,000. You can get 1,000 guns, Esau got 10,000. You can get 1,000,000 guns, Esau got 1 billion. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And where you get the guns from? Esau. Where you get the ammunition from? Esau. Do you not forget the blessing that Isaac put on his son? By violence shall you have all of the earth as the dew of heaven. By violence. You can't outdo Esau. That's why we wait on our general, who's going to go into battle for us and vanquish our enemies. Mm-hmm. At that time shall we be able to destroy our enemies, according to what was prophesied in Esther 9. When we were given the victory, Esther and Mordecai and the Jews were able to destroy their enemies, but not a day before. You thought Mordecai could just go up and slap somebody? Mordecai ain't have no power then. But at the appointed time, then the power was put in Mordecai's hand, and he was able to do it and execute judgment. And throughout all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, did I say it right? Ahasuerus. 127 provinces from Ethiopia to India. They were able to smite all their enemies. So before the time that our general Yahawashi goes out before us with his elect, with his angels, we can't do nothing. We just gonna have to take this L. Because we brought this on ourselves. Mm-hmm. You can't beat Esau. But you're gonna be mad at Esau all day. You can't be mad at Esau all day, because you gotta get up and go to Esau's plantation and work for Esau's money with his face on it. You know what I'm saying? And then got to go and pay bills to companies that Esau owns, to live in a house that Esau built and owns, the property that he owns, to drive the car that Esau has manufactured, drive the road that Esau, built, and the infrastructure and everything belongs to him. Because you're going to be mad at him all day, then you're going to be messed up. You ain't going to have nothing in life. You're just gonna be miserable and mad. Miserable and mad all day. Hungry. I ain't having nothing from the white man. All right, then you gonna starve. You gonna starve, because this is the way the Most High gonna have it until he brings deliverance. I'm gonna eat off the land. Yeah, that land belonged to Esau. I don't know if you knew that or not.
And you got to still go buy the seeds from
You got to go to Esau to get the seed. You got to go to the white man to get everything. There should be no might in your hand. The scripture says that the world has been given unto the hand of the wicked. This belongs to Esau right now. Mm-hmm. There shall come a time when this earth, which belongs to the Most High, shall be transplanted from Esau unto Jacob. Jacob is the end of the world. And Esau, I'm sorry, I said, Father, forgive me. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Yes. Okay? So his kingdom is coming to an end. Esau, that is. Jacob is going to reign after. But until that time, you can't expect to do nothing profound. Yeah, you can go out and get a gun and go pop some police officers if you want, but you ain't going to get very far. Mm-mm. You can get a crowbar and just go smash white people's heads up. You could do whatever you're not going to get very far. You're going to get shot and killed or put under the prison. Yeah. That's why we have to suffer patiently the wrath of God. Read on. Finish this.
My children, suffer patiently the wrath that is come upon you from Yahweh. For thine enemy hath persecuted thee, but shortly thou shalt see his destruction, and shalt tread upon his neck.
All praises.
All praises.
Tread upon his neck, like in Joshua 10 and 25.
Oh,
well, yeah, just like that.
George Floyd.
Mm-hmm. Just like that officer treaded upon George Floyd's neck, we'll be able to tread upon the necks of our enemies. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's prophecy, but not a moment before. Not a moment before. Because if you get in your mind, I'm going to repay, these crackers for what they did to George Floyd. Go ahead. You might get away with one death. You might get satisfaction for 5 hot minutes. But then you're going to feel them bullets in your back. You're going to have your neck pressed on while they arresting you. It ain't going to last. Because this is not your time. You got to wait patiently, keeping the commandment. That's the thing. We want the joy. We want the retribution. We want the glory and the vengeance and the violence. We want all of that, but we don't want the humility and the meticulous. What's the word I'm looking for? Because this ain't fun. This ain't fun to the wicked to have to keep the commandments in sincerity and truth and steadfastness and faithfulness and sincerity. We don't want to do that. We want to bear the sword. We want to fight. We want to kill. We want to do that, but we don't want to keep the commandments. Mm-hmm. Because this is the only way we can do this. We can't get to this without this.
Hallelujah.
We want to fast forward past this and get straight to this. You're going to be in the grave if you think you can leapfrog the law and get right to judgment. Okay? All right, last scripture.
Oh, I thought that was the last one.
Now we got one more. 2nd Ezra chapter 10. 2nd Ezra chapter 10, verses 15 and 16, and then 20 through 24. Now, this is Esdras when he was praying, and as he was in the spirit, a woman was appeared unto him, and she was crying and weeping, and he questioned her as to why she was weeping, and she said that she was been married for a long time, and she was barren for 30 years. So like she prayed day and night, the Most High answered her prayer and gave her a son. The son grew up and became of age, and he was preparing himself to marry. As he went into the marriage chamber, he died, and she wept for him, and she ran, I guess, out of the town to where she was then, and was crying. And Ezra, hearing her story was incensed. He was angry. It's like, look, we all in captivity. You sit up here crying over your one son when we all are in captivity? Okay? But I want you to go ahead and read that. 2nd Ezra chapter 10, verses 15, 16, and then 20 through 24.
15 and 16. Now therefore keep thy sorrow to thyself,
Uh-huh.
and bear with a good courage that which hath befallen thee.
Salakia. So remember the topic. Don't complain in captivity. Now this woman is crying because of her ails, right? The things that's going on in her life. In the midst of a greater captivity of all of her people. And Ezra. And all that we're going through. She's crying and going through and hurt and mourning and lamenting. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, but we have to keep these things in perspective. And this is what he was saying to her with being upset. He's not saying it's sweet to her. He's upset about this entire thing. But read it again.
Now therefore keep thy sorrow to thyself, and bear with a good courage that which hath befallen thee. For if thou shalt...
Salak, I'm sorry. 15. I'm off here. All right, there we go. It is the same type of thing that Baruch said, suffer patiently the wrath of God. Keep your sorrow to yourself. Hold it in, deal with it, recognize what we all dealing with. Because your sorrow ain't no greater than his sorrow. We all are in captivity. And this should be a word to the wise, to those who think they got a little something in this captivity. We all have all of these evils have befallen all of us. We all are in captivity. You may have a little money, you may have a little prestige, but you are in captivity also. Read on.
For if thou shalt acknowledge the determination of Yahweh to be just.
Salakia, so if you recognize that in the land of your captivity, all these evils, right? Isaiah 42 is talking about the fire being kindled. He being burned, he in the midst of it. Jake don't know what's going on. He don't know where the fire came from. If you be wise enough to know where these things came from, and that it's the Most High that kindled, okay, and that ignited these flames, and know that it's just, meaning it's fair punishment for the evils that we've done. Read.
Thou shalt for if thou shalt acknowledge the determination of Yahweh to be just, thou shalt both receive thy son in time, and shalt be commended among women.
So if you acknowledge that you being in captivity is the will of God and his righteous judgment for our iniquity, then in time, not at your time, not when you feel like it, not when you say, I'm done, I'm sick of America, I'm about to get about captivity, I'm going to change things for my people, we're going to be on top again. It's not up to you. But in time, if you be faithful, you shall receive the blessing. Read.
You said 15 and 16?
Yeah, 15, 16, and then to 20 to 24.
Do not so, but be counseled by me.
Meaning, don't do what you think is right. Listen to these words of wisdom that I'm trying to give you, sis. Read.
For how many are the adversities of Zion? Be comforted in regard of the sorrow of Jerusalem.
We all going through. Read.
For thou seest that our sanctuary is laid waste, and our altar broken down, our temple destroyed, our psaltery is laid on the ground, our song is put to silence, our rejoicing is at an end. The light of our candlestick is put out, the ark of our covenant is spoiled, our holy things are defiled, and the name that is called upon us is almost profaned.
So the name of Israel is almost profane, meaning that the Most High not even really looking at us as a nation anymore. Keep going.
Our children are put to shame. Our priests are burnt. Our Levites are gone into captivity. Our virgins are defiled, and our wives ravished. Our righteous men carried away. Our little ones destroyed. Our young men are brought in bondage, and our strong men are become weak.
Shalakia, do you hear what Ezra was talking about concerning our people? That's what we're going through right now. He's saying, sis, listen to me. Do you not see all the adversities of Zion? Do you not see what's befalling our people? Can't you look out your window and see the condition of our people? You sit up here crying over one son and you got thousands of our people, so-called Negroes, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Americans, and all of our people scattered upon the face of the earth going through this stuff. Can't you see that? Can't you see it? Read.
And which is the greatest of all? The seal of Zion hath now lost her honor, for she is delivered into the hands of them that hate us. And therefore shake off thy great heaviness, and put away the multitude of sorrows, that the mighty may be merciful unto thee again, and the highest shall give thee rest and ease from thy labor. Did you say the 25?
Just the 24. Okay, so this is what we ought to do in the land of our captivity. Don't complain. Be faithful to keep the commandments. Suffer patiently. Recognize that this punishment is just. His determination is just. You see what's going on. But we have to be faithful, to walk upright, to do righteousness unto our brethren, that we might see the end. For the neighbors of Zion saw us go into captivity, and they mockingly waved, bye-bye. See, don't drop the soap, nigga. You know, that was their attitude. They laughed at us. They pointed, they jeered, they laughed at us. But they're going to see us when we sit on high. They're going to see us when we're set on thrones. They're going to see us when the crowns are set upon our head. Esther said that he saw, and who was this fellow? Placing crowns upon their heads, taller than the rest of them. We have been given power and dominion. They're going to see that too. Now, they were filled with laughter in the beginning when chains were put on our neck, fetters on our ankles, and being led butt naked into ships. They laughed at that. That was funny. That was a comedy special for them. They were rolling. You mean to tell me this God elect see their butt naked going into ships? But then they're going to see the glory of them same people in the place where it said they were not my people. They shall be called the children of God. They're going to see and they're going to weep. The tribes of the earth shall mourn. They're going to see that we are his people. We got to suffer. We can't complain. We got to deal with it. We got to take the L. One day we're going to be able to tread upon the necks of our enemies. But we got to wait patiently.
LawzMarketplace.com, the site where the tribes unite. Check out fresh Israelite apparel for both men and women, with new items added frequently. Don't forget to join the marketplace so you can promote your own products and services. Kwam Yasha'Allah. Pass me the rock, I ain't in the missing free throws. Cold in